Good evening all. Now recently I indulged myself in the purchase of this. This is Hornby's latest Terrier. It's in the improved engine green livery. It's not green, but that's a long story, which is from the early part of its career. The Terriers were built initially to work suburban trains out of London Bridge and Victoria, to work the London suburban lines. The problem is, if you want to run this engine in this livery with authentic rolling stock, you're kind of stuck. There is nothing available ready to run. Or is there? It's time to talk about everyone's favourite fictional locomotive, Snowpiercer. I kid, of course. I am referring to Thomas the Tank Engine. Let me show you what I mean. So, today I acquired these. These are Bachmann's red coaches, so called. They are from the Thomas and Friends range. And there's not much more I can say about them until I get them open. So let's do that. And here they are. That packaging, I have to say, is insanely secure. Like, you're not getting those out without a craft knife or some extremely strong scissors. But, that aside, these are the red coaches, and there's an interesting story behind them which is highly relevant here. See, now, obviously, these are based on rolling stock from the Thomas the Tank Engine TV series. But the thing is, in the early days of the TV series, and by the early days I mean the first 15 or so years, I think, they used to use rolling stock that was kind of off the shelf, because the series was filmed using models in Gauge 1, and what they did for a lot of their wagons and coaches was they used kits bought from a company called 10 Mil, which is still operating today. 10 Mil was a serious model railway company, and their rolling stock was based on real life prototypes. And so it was with the red coaches. So what these are is they are a model of a real coach. In this case, they are the very distinctive London, Brighton and South Coast Stroudley coaches. This wide lookout is very much a hallmark of your Stroudley coaches. Which means that the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway is one of the few Victorian railways that has specific ready-to-run coaches available. Now, a little proviso, these aren't perfect models of the London, Brighton and South Coast coaches. I think the TV models had some variation from the actual prototypes. They're not hugely detailed. For instance, there ought to be a little footboard there for the guard. One of these days I might get around to adding that. These oil lamp tops, I believe there shouldn't be one there. I'm no expert, but to be honest, if you're going to start chopping these up, then you might as well just invest in buying an actual kit. In fact, Smallbrook Studios does kits of these coaches which are only a few quid more expensive than these. I got these for just over 27 quid each, and the Smallbrook ones are, I understand, just over 30 quid each. So, you pays your money and you takes your choice. For me personally, I find putting kits together awfully fiddly, especially when you've got to mess around with drilling resin and stuff. But I do enjoy painting, so I thought I'd just try to repaint these into something suitable. As for the coaches themselves, as I say, not super detailed. You do have to bear in mind that these are intended as toys. They are a kid's coach. They're designed for use with Thomas the Tank Engine. So it would be churlish to complain that they're not quite up to the standards of, say, Hatton's Genesis coaches. But they are very robust, which, if you've ever dealt with small children, you will know is a very important quality in model railway equipment. I would honestly say these are more kiddie-friendly than Hornby's standard four-wheel coach, albeit at the time of filming this, considerably more expensive. That being said, these were imported. When I filmed this, Bachmann had not yet introduced their Thomas range in the UK. It had been announced. All that aside, what I have is a set of Stroudley coaches, which are ideally suited for my Stroudley Terrier in its Victorian livery. And I'm going to have a crack at painting them up to look a bit more period appropriate. So, you can look forward, I hope, to an upcoming video where I do just that. I will see you then, or for any videos that I put out before that. Have a great week. Cheerio.